Hello, welcome back to another weekly cross-stitching video update. I'm Jules. I hope you guys are having a good day and hope you've had a good stitchy week. I've had a really good stitchy week, I think. I'm honing in on trying to get some more finishes, and it's just something that I've been stitching a lot for the last week, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's the middle of April. How did that happen? I do not know. Anyway, so I've got this, don't know how long this video will be, but I've got three patterns to show you. I do three like this. So I got three patterns to show you, and my brain is not working right this morning. And then I've got a story for you about how someone tried to scam me, and it was cross stitch related, especially considering concerning my cross stitch business. So we'll get to that. But first, let me show you the progress that I've made this past week. I continue to stitch like a maniac on Sun Worship. That's where we're at right now. I've been filling in a lot of stuff around her head, and then the orange coming around all throughout. It's just filling everything in, but I just enjoy this so much. I don't know what it is. I do know what it is. I think it's the colors. And so the colors just grab me. But it is slow going because this is 18 count fabric, and I'm doing full cross stitches, which is just slow going for me right now. So, but I continue to make progress. I'm about 35% of the way done with this particular pattern. So just gotta keep working at it. Just gotta keep working at it. I think my allergies are starting to like bother me too. 'Tis the season. Just how it goes. All right, and then the one that I was really working on this week, and this project is now, I gotta say, it's gotta be like 70 something percent of the way done, is my Empire State Workers. I have really been working on it. Let me pull it back here. So first of all, I'm just going to note, yet again, I think it's going to end at about right here or so. And yet again, I can never position my projects properly on my fabric. I obviously I would if I started in the middle, but I don't. So I always end up with like one side looks kind of funny. But anyway, so I got this. I'm on the last guy of the Empire State Workers pattern. So the last guy's been started, and there's a lot of stitching along with this last guy. But everything you see, I mean, look at that. I've got really just 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, and then everything below them left. So, and now that I've stitched below, like stitched under the beam down here, you can start to see where the buildings are starting to take shape. In this original photo, like it's sort of a, I don't want to say forced perspective, but the perspective basically it's a little too cloudy or just too far away for the camera to pick up the details of the buildings that are sort of in this area. But as it works closer, as you're working closer to these guys, these buildings start to really pop. So that's the nice thing about starting to stitch underneath, because now you can really see sort of the full effect. But getting closer. I think I have like 17,000 stitches left on this one. This is a big project, so this is definitely definitely in the next month, I would hope. We'll see how much it catches fire with me and how much I just like stitch like crazy on it. And then the last one that I worked on this week, which is actually a new start. And the reason why I did this new start was because, one, I'm stitching on a different fabric than I normally do, so it's something that's different that I can transition to while I'm doing these super small stitches and then medium-sized stitches. Now I have big stitches again. I used to stitch quite a lot on 14 count when I first got started, but with cross stitching. But anyway, so I had this piece of 14 count fabric, and I am doing, let me just make sure I do this up, or do this correct side up. So you can't quite tell yet, but this one is going to be the baby feet, the baby heart feet. Actually, you can already kind of tell. You got the one baby foot there and one baby foot there. It's kind of a heart sort of pattern. Lots of pinks and off reds and all kinds of things like that. So I'm just kind of working on it while it's my break piece when I'm working on something else. And I'm like, man, I just want something quicker and just different. This is the perfect piece for it. And the pattern itself is only like 100 by 100, the total pattern, and it's not full coverage. So it's one of my smaller pieces. So I'm just going to just work on this a little bit at a time. I'm already about 15% of the way done. It's only 5,000 stitches, I think. So I'm like at like 700 and something stitches that I've done in the last week, which sounds like a lot, but I mean, I don't know. It's a lot, I suppose, but it doesn't seem like a lot. You know, when you do it maybe 2 or 3 days and you're only doing a couple hundred stitches per day that you stitch on it. So there's that one. Man, I know I said I wasn't going to put out any new pattern. Well, I thought I wasn't going to put out any new patterns till the 1st of May, but I have a few that I might release. I've got one, dudes. I've got one of the bean, the Cloud Gate in Chicago. It's a black and white piece that I think is going to be really cool, and I gotta stitch it. I have to stitch it. So we'll see how that goes, but I'll have to get to it at some point. It'll have to be one that I actually stitch on what do you call it, like a colored dyed fabric, because of just, I think it'll pop so much more if I do. But it's really neat. The bean / Cloud Gate is that metallic structure in Chicago that kind of reflects everything. It was in the movie. I first saw it in the movie Jake Gyllenhaal. Help me, guys. I'm going to remember this as soon as I finish, but it was anyway, so it's downtown Chicago. It's kind of, I've been there now, and so I actually went there some years ago. It's just north of like the Chicago Bears, at Soldier Field. It's just north of there. I'm right on the cusp of like just south of Navy Pier. Anyway, so it's really beautiful, but it's fully reflective. So when you walk up to it, you can actually see yourself in the reflection and different things. So I was able to take one of the many photos that there is and basically translate it into a cross-stitch pattern that I think it looks really good, because you see the Cloud Gate itself, but then you see all the buildings reflected in it, and that's it. I took away all the surrounding stuff. I took away anything below it, above it. It's just the Cloud Gate and the reflection, and so we'll see. We'll see what you guys think, but hopefully I'll have that out in the next week or so. But I have a few more that I'm like really, really interested in doing. So we'll see. If I end up having the urge to do a little design work, then I'll jump into that. Okay, let's just run through the scam story, or the attempted scam story, pretty fast. Maybe this will provide some closure for myself. I was rather angry about it for a while, and I'm angry about it because I know that likely that somebody has been scammed in this way. And I thought about putting a separate video out earlier in the week, but I was pretty angry about it for a while, and I didn't want to do a video while I was angry about it, even though I kind of still am. But let's get some closure for this. So I was contacted by a gentleman who, and I'm not going to share actual names because these names are easily changed, and it might injure someone who actually has that name and who is an actual business person. I don't want to throw it out there saying, hey, this person's a scammer, because honestly, they should be changing their names if they're going to be running scams from person to person. We'll see. We'll see how smart they are. So I was contacted about a week and a half ago by a gentleman who portrayed himself as a store owner in this little town up in the Swiss Alps. And he had found my patterns via Google searching, just being on Google, just going around and looking for stuff. Complimented me on my patterns, distinctive, different, blah, blah, blah. And wanted to order a bunch, but wanted to know if I would be okay with shipping to Switzerland. And I was like, I don't have any problems with shipping to Switzerland. I'm sure it's going to be expensive though. And he said not to worry. He actually has somebody that he's been using for years that is more of a like a private shipper that does a really good job for him, getting through customs and getting all that red tape done for him, and then making sure that it delivers to him properly up in the Swiss Alps, where apparently like UPS and FedEx don't necessarily go. Hard to say. So anyway, so I was like, okay, so the way I would do this is, what patterns do you want? I will put together an estimate for you, and I'll get the patterns ready, and that way we know like what kind of a box we're going to use, the weight of it, and everything. So I did all that. I spent last Thursday morning making sure that I had all the patterns ready, and it was a lot of patterns. It was like 100 patterns, people, and so it was like, okay, this would be a nice sale. And I put everything together, and got a box for it, measured the box, got the weight, did all that. And he says, okay, now that you have all that, could you send it to this email address? This gentleman, you know, blah, 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 is the one I've used, da, 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 whatever. So I was like, okay. So I sent it to the guy, sent it to the second guy, and literally like within an hour, I had an estimate back. And it was just sort of a general, you know, it looked fairly official. You know, it's one of those that's like, it definitely looked like a form letter in a sense, but it was very detailed. The only thing that it didn't list is it never listed like a website address. It didn't list like a home office base, you know, kind of thing. But if this guy's doing this out of his house or whatever, then, you know, and some people do. And so I work with international shippers for animals and whatnot, and it's not always like cut and dried, and sometimes it's, you know, you're using somebody who has the expertise, but they don't necessarily have a full-fledged business. So I was like, okay, that's no big deal. But then he told me that if I was, once I'm ready to do this, for one, they would come pick it up from my residence, which is pretty standard for stuff like this. The second thing though was they wanted me to wire them the money before they proceeded with anything. That was when a little bell started going off. I'm like, wiring money? Okay. Like, not a lot of people do that. They do it when they do it when it's a, like you want to be sure of something, like you want to make sure you absolutely get your money and it's guaranteed and there's no scam on my end. And so I was like, okay. So got the estimate back. It was quite a lot, but I did a similar DHL estimate, and it was pretty close to that, which made me kind of a little suspicious, because I'm like, well, if you're going to do this, why not use DHL instead of this guy? But I'm like, well, who knows? So I wrote back to the guy in Switzerland, and I asked him a few more questions, you know, about his store, this and that. He never gave me the name of his store. He just said him and his wife have been doing this for 6 years, and blah, 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 blah. Let me just also point out that if this comes back that in any way that I am wrong and this wasn't a scam, I will remove this video. I'll flat out remove it, publish a retraction or whatever, but I'm pretty confident that this was a scam. So when I got back to him and said, I have the shipping estimate, everything's ready to go, we're good, he was like, okay, send me an invoice and I'll pay it. And so I sent him an invoice via Square, which is what I typically, you know, use. And he was like, "Oh, I can't really use Square. Can you send me like do you have like a Shopify invoice, or you know, a couple other different options?" So I do have a Shopify store. So I was able to get even more work. I got an invoice together and then sent it to him. And then he kind of didn't get back to me that day, which is not surprising considering it's like, if he's in Switzerland, it's, I don't know, like 9-10 hours ahead of where I am. So by that time, it would have been about like 11 or midnight where he was at. Where the story turns is the next morning, which was Friday morning. And when I woke up, I had an email from him, and I think this was supposed to be like the closure email, but it was the one that really set off my spidey senses. And he said that, one, he was sorry that he couldn't get back to me to pay that last night because he had a meeting that he absolutely had to get to. I'm like, really? At midnight? 1 o'clock in the morning? Okay. Maybe. But then the second one was, hey, listen, we really want to get this done today. Let me just send you my credit card info. You can run that and then, get the shipping and all that, because I want to get this all by Easter. So I want to get this rolling and get this taken care of. And I was like, okay. And I said, however, I would like for you to pay the Shopify invoice. I'm not, I don't feel comfortable taking your credit card information. He then wrote me back pretty quickly and said, no, I really want to give you my credit card. I just don't trust all these other things. And that's when I was like, all right, like this is really starting to be scam-like. And I have a lot of other businesses that I've done and sold online, little bitty ones, not any big thing, but I've dealt with people from all over the world. And when it starts to become scammy, they all kind of act the same. They start pressuring you. They start telling you that the deal could fall through. They start to, but they want you to do something that is out of your normal comfort zone. And for me, I'm like, finally I wrote it back, final thing. And I just said, listen, I said, you asked me if I could give you a Shopify invoice, and I have done that. I said, I will only accept payment via Shopify. It is for your protection and my protection. Once you pay that, I will proceed, but only once you pay this will I proceed. And so then after I said that to him, I wrote the shipper. And I said, my CPA really would like for me to get certain information from you before I proceed with shipment through your company. One is I need a breakdown of your estimate. I need to know how much taxes are going to be paid, and just I need it itemized out. And secondly, we're going to need a home office address. Again, for tax purposes and accounting purposes, my CPA will not let me proceed without it. So I sent those to them like Friday morning, late morning. Well, I was actually at work, and radio silence since then. So I'm pretty confident that was a scam, and I need to report them. In fact, that's one of my to-do lists today is report the scam. If it's not, I'll retract. I'll take it down. I'll say whatever I have to. But it was a friendly scam, at least. It wasn't I'm being really mean and I'm going to force you to do this. But it still was a scam. So I don't know if they're targeting other cross-stitch artsy craftsy stuff, but I just want to throw this out there, just let people know. But you should never accept a credit card number over the phone or over or via email or whatnot when you don't know the person, because you can't trust them. He could have given me a real credit card phone number, and I could have run that, and then he would have reported it stolen, and the credit card transaction, I would have lost that money and had paid out the $1,000 for shipping. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the scam, and try to say that I was trying to scam him. And it's possible. But anyway, so I get mad about that, because it's just like, why do you have to be so bad? Why do you have to try to steal from other people? And I hate that. I just hate that. So anyway, this ended up being a long video for that story purpose only. But anyway, so now the good news is that I got a few more patterns ready for publication, as far as having them professionally done before for the store purpose. So, but I got a lot of stitching done last week, and like I said, I'm kind of about to do some more designs, so we'll see how that goes. I've had a lot of communiques through Etsy this week, and I appreciate everybody who's reached out with questions and comments and all kinds of things. That's cool. But yeah, so I've got the rest of the day. It is 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to work on uploading this video. It'll probably come out a little bit later, late morning. And we're going to see. I know, Zuzu, you got your bone. Gimme, 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 gimme. Leave it. Leave it. Zuzu. Zuzu. Leave it. Leave it. You were being bad. Leave it, Zuzu. Well, then I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you. Anyway. Yeah, so got all that done. So my glasses fall off. But we're not heading towards a finish, but we are heading towards a finish. Just not this week, but soon. And we'll see how it goes. I still want to work more on giraffe. I'm going to get that worked on that as I'm going to work on that as well. But Empire State Workers, let's see how far we can get this week. Zuzu, seriously. And yeah, otherwise we're good to go. Have a great week. You guys take care. The world is still an awesome, lovely, wonderful place. A lot of it's because of you guys being so lovely and wonderful. And I'm not at all like discouraged or anything. I just don't like it when people are mean. Why? So anyway, have a great week. Happy stitching. I hope you are safe, and I hope the weather is good where you're at. And I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.